Hey guys, my name is Abina Rockcliffe and welcome to another episode of Frank Discussions. This evening we have with us a very interesting woman of prestige, Dr. Ayodele Dalgety Dean, and she is the most recent Guyanese to have received the Anthony N. Sapga Award, and I want to introduce her in that way, even though there's so many other things to her name. Thank you for being here with us.
And thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you. Before we go into the other facets of Ayo, I could call you
Please
Ayo.
call me Ayo. Everyone
Thank
calls
you.
me Ayo.
Because I was thinking maybe she might say only her friends call her Ayo. But,
Oh, no.
Oh, great.
Everyone calls me Ayo.
Lovely. So before we get into the other facets of Ayo, tell me a bit about your experience winning that prestigious award.
Oh, I think it's been fabulous, actually. Even though I'm embracing only things fabulous these days. But since getting the award, I must say that it was recognition for Blossom and for my staff. And I think everyone works so hard in such a trauma-related field that for me, it wasn't just about me. It was about all the staff at Blossom. It was also about the child protection officers and about the police from the gender-based violence unit. We work hard. And I think a lot of times people do not know or appreciate the amount of trauma that's involved in hearing stories of sexual abuse and exploitation every single day, and then having to work with that and see it through the court system. So for me, it was an honor to get it. I would like to say I appreciate the fact that it was recognized for what it truly is. So
Okay.
yes, so we've been sitting on it and enjoying.
So how long has Blossom has been around?
So Blossom was founded in 2014. So as I said millions of times before, there was this call for collaboration, and I think I was a bit of a busybody, so I went to the call for collaboration, and it was to work with, there was a gap, and it was the Child Protection Agency, and it was to work with children who had experienced or sexual abuse. And I thought that was exactly my field. So I thought, oh yes, this is what I shall do in Guyana, because I was a remigrant to Guyana.
Okay.
And I thought, oh yes, this is what I'll do. So basically invited to that call for collaboration, realized that this is something I could do, and within 10 days had set up Blossom.
Wow.
So yes,
That's
so
quick. You are a busybody.
I am.
You had to have been busy to get that together so
Yes,
quickly.
you
From
know.
2014 to now, have you seen progress in Guyana in dealing with abuse and violation of women and children in this way?
Absolutely. Because, of course, when we started, I like to give that horrific figure that people do not like to acknowledge. But there were only 2 successful cases of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, that went through the courts. Okay. Now, of course, we've got 1,000% increase.
Yes.
So we started then, and every single year, we've had increases in successful prosecutions. And I think ultimately that is the outcome that we are looking for. Also, we started with 1 center. Now we have centers in all the regions in Guyana. So of which Blossom, we're in 5 regions. So we have 8 centers across regions 1, 2, 4, 7, and 10. So really in those hard-to-reach communities, we have a center in Mabaruma, Port Kaituma, Moruca, and then in region 2, we're on the Essequibo Coast. We're on the East Bank in Region 4. So the Region 4 Center would cover the whole of the East Bank, including Temeri and up along the Sultan Highway. We have a center in Region 7, Bartica, which Region 7 is probably one of those difficult regions because we're in the middle mass or lower mass, but placed in the upper mass, unless we fly in to do interviews or to do sensitization sessions, oftentimes because of lack of infrastructure, we're not able to reach as many of the, I'll say victims that we need to reach. So that's something I'm really working hard on for this year and next year to get a center into the upper mass areas.
Okay.
And then we have 2 centers in Region 10, which one in Linden and one in Kokwani.
Okay.
So it's a very decentralized service,
Yes.
and that alone in Guyana says a lot. That is progress. We moved the things from the coast into the hinterland communities. which, as you know, we really, really need to support our
Great.
hinterland
So you've been
communities.
seeing a lot of progress, not only in being able to spread out and help more people, but also in having prosecution for those who have been affected. But
Yes.
what about the volume of these cases? Have you seen a reduction in the instances
So,
of these abuse?
so of course, the more people get confident with the system, numbers will increase. It doesn't mean there's more cases of child sexual abuse. It means that people are
More
getting
reporting.
more reporting,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
which is what we want. So it's where we want to be and where we want to go. So do not be alarmed at the cases increasing. Know that at least children have access to justice.
Right.
I think in a few years' time, we should really be petering off, as all the work we're doing, kind of plateaus and people are now comfortable reporting. They're comfortable going to the police stations to report, contacting the Child Care and Protection Agency and getting to us. So we're not there as yet, but that's where we are aiming for. So we're not alarmed at the high
Okay.
cases. We want children to report. We want
Blossom,
families
in
to
your work,
report.
after you help the children to get justice and to move out of that environment, do you maintain communication after to see their progress in dealing with the trauma and so forth?
Only. So let me tell you how we work. So
Okay.
the police and the Child Care and Protection Agency would bring the child to us. We do what's called a forensic interview, followed by trauma-focused therapy. While that is all happening, we do the victim and court support, we do case tracking, and we do education outreach. The victim and court support is where we let the family know exactly what's happening with the case throughout the system. We then prepare the children for court once the case is called. Of course, that is years. So we're talking
Yes.
of years, a relationship that could be 3-4 years
Okay.
going. So they have the therapy. If they, after when the court case happens and everything is finalized, which we're only now seeing some of those cases, because remember there was a backlog and then there was COVID.
Right.
So we're now seeing some of our cases back from 2014. They're now coming to court and so forth. If the family wants to remain in contact with us, absolutely, we'll do check-ins. Oftentimes, the children have now grown up, and they want to lead their lives, which they're allowed to do, and they should be given grace and peace to be able
Right.
to do that. If they need us, we're here. If they don't, we wish them the best, and
Yes.
only send great karma their way. Yeah.
Of course. How is it? I mean, earlier in the beginning, you spoke about the how much work you guys put in, but this is not just a labor, as in you go to work every day and you get things done, but this is also very heavy emotionally on you when you see the suffering of children. How do you manage to deal with that?
I would say we're professionals now, and a lot of the staff, we've all learned how to deal with it. But most importantly is that we have access to a psychologist. So I have access to one of my directors who's a psychologist and another mentor that I can talk to about anything that is difficult. I'm available for my staff, but we also have someone on retainer. I
Oh,
kind of push
nice.
a lot. A lot of people do not recognize secondary trauma or vicarious trauma, but I pushed for any small pots of funding I can get to be able to provide that for my staff. This person that I have, I also make it available to any of the child protection officers or the police that would also like to access that service. It's totally confidential. I don't need to know. I will just get a reference number at the end because, for most people in Guyana, they're concerned about confidentiality.
Yes.
And especially if it's my staff or even a police or a child protection officer, they might not necessarily want you to know that they're accessing or what they're talking about. And they must know, my staff, they must know that I do not have to know. They show up at work, they're together, they do their work, they access therapy, and that is okay.
Okay.
So I really, really fight for that. And it is a struggle because it doesn't come in our mainstream budget. So it's always me getting small pots from
Okay.
somewhere.
But it's
Yes.
important to you,
But
so
it's
you make sure
important
you
to me,
find
so I
it.
make sure yes.
Okay. Outside of the that which you mentioned earlier about the situation in Region 7 to get more access to there, is there any area within your work that you need more funding for, or that you any?
There's always a need for funding, yes, always. Because we get a subvention from the government, we also apply for funding from other international agencies, but it really only covers about 70% of our budget. Between the government and other agencies, really it's 70% of our budget. So we never work into our, what I would call full
Potential,
capacity,
okay.
yes, or full potential. We're never, so there's always need for funding.
Okay.
So I mean, I wish one day I was just given a budget, and all money would flow towards it.
And you get to
And we'd
get
just be able to just get out there and really get everything done, really get to those hard to reach communities. And I like to say the harder to reach communities. So for instance, we're in Maruka, but then to get to Manwarin or to get to Quibana, that's another 2 hours in a boat. So there's hard to reach communities and then there's harder to reach communities. And sometimes we just don't have enough funding to get to those communities.
Those who are watching, if you have some money that you're looking for a social cause, Blossom is here. You can help the vulnerable children in our society. Do you get pushback from the families? Like, do you get in these real deep confrontational situations when you try to help the children?
Well, sometimes families are scared. And you remember therapy in Guyana is seen as, there's the stigma. Taboo, oh, my child isn't mad or I'm not mad. But I must say it's getting better and better. Over the years, we've seen, it get better and better. And sometimes, actually, many families are like, no, she's okay. We're okay. We don't need help. Sometimes it's, again, giving grace, saying, okay, but we're here. And then ensure you you touch base. And they will come in.
Okay.
But you don't have to. Someone must want therapy for it to actually work.
But I find sometimes, even with my friends, those of us who need therapy the most are the ones who say, no, that's okay.
Fine.
I'm
perfectly fine. Yes. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, no, you're not. But again, continue communicating and eventually they will get there.
So I know you're really, your background is social work and everything else, but I was talking to my producer, Joel Simpson. Thank you for all the good work he's been doing for us. And he told me that your PhD that you recently completed, congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
It's not on child protection, it's on
Suicide.
suicide.
I mean,
So that's an interest of yours as
but
well.
something is wrong with me, all this trauma.
Right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so how is that? Why you chose that?
Because I had the shock of my life when I remigrated to Guyana and someone said to me, oh, yes, that's the suicide capital of the world. What? My rose-tinted Guyana? What craziness are you telling me? And then you actually look into the figures and you're like, oh, my God.
We're
This
second in the
country-
world.
Yes. We're always 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Always. This small country with maximum 800,000 people.
Yes.
But really about 750,000. How is it possible? And then I do my research and you think, oh my God, I can see exactly why it's possible.
So tell me
And
why.
it's
Tell me why.
Because it's basically our cultural beliefs and values, our harmful social norms, and really our cultural practices. There's a lot of stigma and silence and mind your own business and, don't tell people about what's going on. There's a lot of family conflict. There's a lot of people prioritize finances over, let me say, love, over
Right.
caring
Yes.
and love. And when you have all those, when you throw that into a pepper pot, unfortunately, it creates a real pepper, there's just ultimately all those things, as I say, our cultural beliefs and values, our harmful social norms, and our cultural practices, it ultimately leads to a social discord, and that social discord manifests with intergenerational conflict, a normalization of death, which ultimately leads to, I say death being like a cultural resolver, meaning death as a problem-solving tool. So
The only way
suicide
out.
yes, you see that as the only way out. And people do this often because of their families, because of their communities. Some people actually doesn't see it as an end. It's just a continuation of what we have. So it was it was an
Was there a specific
interesting.
area in Guyana that you looked at for your research that you?
So no, I looked at throughout the whole of Guyana. I specifically, and my supervisor did not want to do that. Only look at a specific area.
Okay.
Of course, I came into it with my own, biases. I'm like, oh, absolutely Region 6, which is what we always know, over there
Yes.
on the quarantine in Berbice. But, it's also Region 2. It's also Region 1, And for me, most alarmingly, it's Region 3. I mean,
Oh.
there's so much going on in Region 3. It's just unbelievable.
I find that suicide is not reported as much these days. Back in the day, we used to see suicide rocks this village or murder suicide do this, but we report it less. And so a lot of Guyanese believe that it's not as prominent
Prevalent
now
or-
or prevalent. That's the better word.
That is not the case. You see, I was actually, saying the press has been really responsible after all the education you've received, and you're actually not reporting all the cases because, of course, we were worried about
Copycat syndrome.
In my research, that came up a little bit, but it wasn't actually the driving force. The copycat is just that someone was going to do it anyway.
Yes.
So the method they used, does it actually really matter? They were going to find
So
a way
would your
to get it done.
advocacy be to continue not reporting on it, or
Or
do you?
I would say we have to be responsible in the way we report, especially because so many of our children
Right.
are dying by suicide. And I think we have to be careful and we have to be ethical when it comes to that. Then, of course, we have the murder-suicides, which is exceedingly alarming right now because, again, it shows up exactly what my research showed, breakdown in romantic relationships, family relationships, and it's the only way of solving your communication problem. Why is that?
So I wanted to know that too. Are you going to work more with the men now?
My aim is to work with men and boys, so a lot of my funding proposals now is really to focus on men and boys. Even as
Right.
part, I applied to the Commonwealth Foundation and got some funding for that, and it's to roll out, to look at suicide and dialogues around suicide in communities, because it's all linked, with the children. When you see suicide, then you'll also see a little bit of sexual abuse and of course,
Right. So
social
it's all
discord within families.
intertwined
It's all
with your work.
intertwined, yes.
Oh,
So
gosh, you got some stomach.
yes, as I said, something, I mean, there was a moment earlier this year when I was like, I'm traumatized out. I literally do not want to hear anything bad about anybody. I want to live in cloud cuckoo land and assume everyone is.
That's hard
having a
for you in your line of
fantastic-
work.
Yes, but I did have that moment where I just didn't want to hear.
Tired of it all.
I was so exhausted, and that meant, I was suffering from vicarious trauma.
Yes.
You
And when did you coin that term or it's
No,
'cause-
that's a thing. It is
so
a term.
I know
yes.
about
Yes.
the secondhand trauma, but I
Yes.
didn't hear it coined that way before.
Yes,
Vicarious
it is.
trauma. Usually, when people use the word vicarious, it's for always something fun. Let me live vicariously through you to do this or that, not with the trauma. But
It's
I
there.
the concept.
Yes,
All right.
it's
So
there.
let's talk about something beautiful for you because
Yes.
you have a lot going on this. So this year, let me see. You finished your doctorate. You submitted your thesis. You got the award,
Yes.
and you were awarded something else.
I was awarded something else.
Well, you're
Yes.
so let's talk about that and how huge that is for you and your girls.
Well, initially, when girls get together, we probably talk too much and all those kinds of stuff. So it was a group of us, and then it boiled down to what it is, which right now it's two working directors. But CISPRO, we just thought, or at least for me, let me talk from my point of view,
Yes.
that for me, it was all about Guyana had oil. And we needed to be a part of it. Guyanese needed to be a part of it. So that was my driving force. And for me, it's about building generational wealth. First for
amen,
my
sister.
for my little babies, for my children,
Yes.
for all the children of Guyana. I wanted to ensure that whatever happens, we build generational wealth here in Guyana. So I think that was behind my, let's go and do this.
But
know,
did you
but
think
now
in the initial stage that it would have actually gotten so
think-
far?
No, I think I was not actually thinking about that. I was, oh, yes, we do the application. I was just going through the process. Yes, you got to show up and go through the process, And then we were awarded, and it was like, wow. Okay, I need to lock in now, and I need to learn. I need to
And how's that
understand
learning
what's
process going?
It is steep, and it bursts my brains. But, it has to be done, And real shout out to my husband who he's really, considering he's wanted to retire and do all these things, I'm forever saying to him, please explain this commercial term to me. Please do this. And okay, slow it down. There's no need to talk so fast. So he's really there behind me, supporting and encouraging
in
me.
This case, behind this successful woman is a supportive man.
He's very supportive.
Nice. And usually they say the other way around, behind that successful man.
He is really, because I think everyone knows, Joel knows, everyone knows, we also have an autistic child. Oh. So, who requires
I have an autistic son.
Yes, he requires,
I know what it is.
And, Gregory is there full on. He is there supporting. He does his bit. In fact, he is hands-on. And of course, seeing that he is retired.
Yes. Some sort of retirement.
Some sort of retirement. But that's good, because it gives me the headspace to be able to pursue all these things that I seem to be, pursuing.
Shining.
Yes. But CISPRO absolutely had to happen. It must happen. And we're working really hard to ensure that it runs smoothly. Well, obviously in oil and gas, things can never be totally smooth.
Right.
The amounts of money involved alone should tell you that if you're going smoothly, something isn't right, But we are just persevering, and we are slowly, and...
But how... Yeah. So with CISPRO, this is your trailblazer on several fronts, because it's the only indigenous company. So you guys are the first group of Guyanese to set foot and have a block. Yes. Then you are women. Yes. And we know how it is. Even with all the progress the women have made, and all the progress society and the patriarchy has made in accepting women and our place in the world of work and business, it's still a struggle. And then you're, of course, a Black woman. So it's just the head first on so many fronts. How is this for you? How do you ever wake up and say, I really did this? How am I going to?
No, I wake up and think I belong. No,
Really?
I always say, I must say, thank goodness for the father that I had. He's a strong Pan-Africanist. I think he brought us up that way too. I mean, my name is Ayodele.
Yes.
And full of confidence. His daughters can do everything, anyone, and more. So I think that was just part of me. So I never stopped to think, oh, I'm a woman, or I'm specifically a Black woman, and a Black woman with locks. I was like, hey, I'm just doing this. And then people ask me about
That's
it,
amazing.
and I'm like, oh, okay. But no, I happen to think, I belong at every table.
Wow.
That sounds a bit like...
No, it's good. And so I was reading, I am reading this book, The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And he said that on his visit to Dakar, Africa, he saw all of this. And then, so I only never go through the whole thing. But the point is, he came to a point in the book where he said that even though, so his family are very Afrocentric as well. They name him Ta-Nehisi. His name was originated from African culture and everything else. And he said, with all the drums, with all the beating, with all the, I'm this strong African man, I still doubt myself. And he said that with all the indoctrination they've given us, like even though you know all these things, you still doubt yourself. And it's amazing to know that it doesn't even cross your mind.
It did not cross my mind, And I think I have to be grateful, and I have to acknowledge that I'm happy that maybe I had the childhood that I did, and I had the parents, because both my parents were Pan-Africanists. So, I have to really credit both of them.
Right.
But
very good stuff.
Seriously, yes, did not occur to me.
That's nice. So the study of Negrology didn't get to you. That's great.
But it's important for other people, though, because when this happened and it was announced that we won the blocks,
yes,
so many young Black girls here in Guyana. So many parents came to me and said how important it was for them and for their
Representation,
daughters.
yes.
And I think that's when I thought, oh boy, I've got to pull up my socks and,
And you have to make it work.
and I have to make it work because it mattered to so many people, and I must appreciate that. So even though for myself I was just doing something, it matters to a lot of people. And I have to be cognizant of that.
Yes.
And that comes with a responsibility that I must take seriously.
So maybe some years in history, someone might be quoting this and say, well, the first women group that did this in Guyana, this is what she said. So great. We're in an organization together, the BA.
Yes.
Tell me about your, I have to say work because it's work. I saw you.
You said
I saw the picture.
yes.
So tell me about your work and advocacy in that organization.
Well, again, as I said, my background is always that you take others along with you. And the BA kind of resonated with me. I wasn't a founding member of it. I joined after. And that was because, again, the building of the generational wealth, the advocacy, the ensuring that systems are in place to support businesses in Guyana, women-led businesses, Black-owned businesses. We have to create a system that allows everyone to move forward together. And I feel that for the Black community in particular, that is very, very important. We have to encourage, or we have to build the capacity of our young, I'll say mostly women, because that's who we're seeing in business.
Yes.
In small businesses. We have to help them to build cash flows. We have to help them to access financing. We have to help them to form consortiums. We have to build their capacity. And I think that attracted me to BA. So now, of course, I entered the organization. I'm now the vice chair. And for me, it's important to ensure that we build that community. So, yeah.
So I realized while you were talking that for the purpose of our viewers, I did not say the BA is for Black Entrepreneurs Association. And I am so honored to be a part of the association. And I guess for you, you're one of our more high profile members.
Oh dear.
So you are a big deal. What's next for BA?
Well, hopefully everything. But you may or may not know, right now, of course, we were, do I use the word awarded, some land as part of the government's rollout of their land program. 60 acres. And so what we did was divided that into two. So 2 30-acre plots. And one, I would say, it's like a home ownership model. And the other one is like an investment model. Again, so that something is available for all Black
members.
people, all members.
Yes.
So we wanted to
But that's
ensure
an amazing
happens,
initiative.
Yes. So yes,
And
that's
how is the
rolling.
uptake?
The uptake is fantastic. The model that is kind of home ownership is kind of, moving ahead. Actually, I drove by on the way here down the new Ogle Road, and I saw that we were kind of the only people with our stand up there because we've enlisted NABI to roll out the development, and there was the sign, and I'm like, oh, where's everyone else's, little setup, and I'm there trying to take a photo, so we're
they don't have IO on their team.
Yes, they're there, we're there making things happen, and that is why the BA is so important, because we should be the backbone to ensure that things are rolled out, that we have systems in place, that we have access to the finances, and we have access to the wealth that is in this country.
And how is the association doing any work to try to combat this mentality that we have? I say we, a lot of Black people and Black entrepreneurs. Black people can't. Everything always flop. Black people can't do anything. They can't be together. They can't stay together. They can't see it through. Do you have persons who feel like they're probably getting a imposter syndrome in the business world? And how, if so, do you help to quell them and give them some of that confidence that you have?
Well, I would hope that we could model the behaviors that are required. So we do, of course, have conversations and so forth. Do we have a structured program? No, not. I will say not as yet. But we would hope to be modeling the behaviors that that people can see to make things work. It's always a work in progress. So, you have to put people together and then you have to support them to be together. Now, probably because of my background in therapy and family therapy and gender-based violence, I know it takes like a woman 20 years to get out of a domestic violence relationship. If it takes 20 years to work on someone building a business relationship, then
Yes.
that's what we do.
Yes.
So you're in there for the long haul, and I'm in there for the long haul. So if that means I have to hold your hands for years, then that is okay. Let's
How are
do
you
that.
finding the time to do all
Yes.
these things?
I know, please don't ask my husband. He's probably saying taking time away from him. But I think I've been lucky to understand how to compartmentalize, but also how to plan effectively. So, and I do plan, and I do love a spreadsheet. Even when I was having my first baby, I had a spreadsheet.
Oh,
I mean, it
wow.
was that ridiculous. Of course, she went and came early, and then I had to relook
And mess up
at
your
this.
spreadsheet.
Yes, man.
How dare she?
Of course. I was most perturbed. But, I had to pull myself together and back on with the spreadsheet.
Yes.
Yes,
In true
absolutely.
Iowa fashion.
Absolutely.
So, do you want to give a word to other young Black people who may not know of the BA and probably invite them to join
Yes.
our
Well,
association?
we do have a WhatsApp group that has probably over 256 persons in it. I would encourage all to come on board. Even if they can't pay the membership, just get on board. And then it's up to us, the directors, to kind of carry them along. It's a lot of work, and a lot of us, of course, we all have our businesses to run, but we have to create that space and that time to help to bring the others along. And we are working on our strategic plan and so forth, so we know how to create those small spaces to support the other businesses.
Thank you very much, Ayo. It
Yes.
has been indeed a pleasure having this sit down with you, and a very big shoes to fill, but I'm happy to be in your company and to be in an organization with you. Continue to shine.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, we had it. Ayo, she is one of the directors on CISPRO, chairman, vice chairman for
Vice
BA,
chair.
vice chair for BA. She is Blossom. That's chair. At
I'm
Blossom,
the
or
founder and managing
founder
director.
and managing director at Blossom, and she is ready to do more and more. I appreciate having this sit down with her, and thank you for tuning in. Good night.